You ready? You set?
Not really, but go for it.
No, you go for it. It's Endo Intro Week.
Woohoo! You're making me do the work. Welcome, everybody, to the Tougies Take podcast. My name is Endo at It's Just Endo. And with me today, as every day, usually, it's the man who, again, the namesake of this podcast, the guy who's given me a career in this field where I make $0, Tougie24, with this very special guest, honorary special guest, good group of the friendos. He's the man of the golden voice in the NHL esports community. You've seen him on League Gaming. You've seen him on other broadcasts whatsoever. Davos at Davos Cast. Our boy Davis. How are you doing, brother?
I'm well, fellas. Welcome. Thank you for having me back after nearly a year.
It's been over a year.
It's been over a year since I was last, since Sin decided to take a vacation.
Yeah, you'll be happy to know I had zero recollection of you being on the show. Zero. Wow. I made a group DM on Twitter to be like, hey, okay, we ready to go? Yep. And it brought up the already created one dated March 8th of 2022. And that might as well have been 6 years ago.
Oh my gosh. I know. I think I remember we were talking about like Marty St. Louis because I think he had became coach of the Canadiens.
I'm looking through because I had listed the run sheet. At the time, Rick Nash had just had his number retired by the Blue Jackets. Bruins legend.
So did Nasher at the same time.
Yeah. You'll be surprised to know that the Coyotes had hired someone who used to be with the National Lacrosse League, who, might have had some allegations of threatening local media members at times. Like, it's the same. There's some fun stuff. The Coyotes have ridiculous stuff going on. All the fun stuff, but it does spare us, Davos, from having to go back through so tell us your hockey history type of basic questions because it's already out there, everybody. You gotta search that bad boy up. I don't know that episode title. So, again, March of 2022 feels like forever ago. Yep. I don't even know. I'm trying to think of how to equate it, and the biggest thing I could think to do was to look up the biggest video games of March 2022, which didn't include much, so that didn't really help me, to be honest.
Oh, but yeah, 22 was a dud.
I tried. There was that Gran Turismo game that had a shitload of microtransactions and pissed off a lot of people. There was that. So, but what game doesn't have a bunch of microtransactions that pisses off a bunch of people? We could talk about Diablo forever and ever if we wanted to, because that's in that category. But that is not what we are here to do, gentlemen. We are here to pretend that we're going to talk about hockey, but we're really not. And it's our final show.
Wow.
For about 2 weeks. Really. Again, Sin already out in Finland. I will be leaving in just a few days. And yeah, I can't imagine we'll have another podcast until about the 26th of June. So it's going to be a little bit, but we have Davos in here as our ringer to really send you guys off on a strong note. And we'll start off
to be that person today.
I'm glad. We will start it off on a strong note in just a few moments with viewer questions. But before that, as always, we need to mention that this podcast is brought to you by our lovely friends at manscaped.com, who want to remind you, of course, that you can go to, again, manscaped.com and use the code Tougie, that's Tougie, for 20% off your order. You get free shipping at the same time. Manscaped, the best you can get in the world of men's grooming. Of course, Father's Day is coming up. Get your dad the perfect gift of smooth balls, because I knew I could get Davos to this entire deal is just going to be us trying to get Davos to break. It's going to be a fun time. But yeah, the perfect package 4.0, the performance package 4.0. You know why it's 4.0? Because they keep getting better at what they do and helping you out. So again, manscaped.com, code Tougie. Do it. Use the code. Do it. So we have some viewer questions.
Oh boy, what fun.
Yeah, what fun. It's often the peak of the podcast, the back half, the hockey talk. Who cares about that? But before we get into this, Davos, you are known as a serial aficionado. How did this reputation start?
I could say that when I was younger, I don't know, I just became what they call a cereal holic. Didn't care much about your pancakes, your waffles, your grits, your oatmeal. Was just a cereal kid through and through every single day, 24/7, 7 days a week, 24 hours, all that. And I don't know, I could feel like I've had a lot of cereal.
Well, that's good because we're going to put that knowledge to the test, kind of.
Oh, no.
Oh, boy.
Our first question comes from Bud Knight. For each of your favorite teams, describe the cereal that best describes said team. Now, I will give you guys a chance because I have a perfect answer for this. The Boston Bruins are Captain Crunch. They're delicious, but they're harmful to your health. Is it worth the pain of supporting the brand? I'm not sure. Yet for some reason, I still do. The Boston Bruins are Captain Crunch. It's a tough one. It is a tough one.
It is very tough.
I had some time to think of this, and I wanted to make sure I could give you guys enough time. But it's, I don't know, it's an interesting one. I feel like I took the easiest one of like, this team causes pain, Captain Crunch. So I'm sorry, but I had to do it. So.
I was thinking about, I was going to say like Trix, because when it first was when Trix was good in the 90s and the early 2000s, and the shapes were awesome, and then they just decided to change it into those little balls, and everybody hated it, and they slowly just tanked, and now they're slowly reclining, and now they're back into shape. So I think that could be the Detroit Red Wings right now, from the 90s to today. Hopefully it gets better from here, but we'll see.
So Endo, for purposes, I mean, I'm still gonna include you as a Leafs fan because let's be honest.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about the Leafs, we got to talk about Raisin Bran. And all the goody.
Honey bunches of oats. Cornflakes, just cornflakes, nothing else.
Just what about Frosted Flakes?
Original life.
I'm looking up old cereal brands.
Old cereal. Rice Krispies without anything.
Kaboom. OJ's. This one is just called. This one is just called Listen.
That's the Toronto.
It's Apple Cheerios or whatever.
Apple Cheerios.
Rocky Road. Banana Frosted Flakes. Because, boy, Fruit Brut. I'm just looking at cereal. ET cereal because it wants to fucking go home.
What about what are they called? Wheat Thins. Or not wheat Thins, or like Frosted Mini Wheats or whatever.
Yeah,
whole brand. Because they keep shitting themselves every time they get somewhere close to success. Oh man,
perfect. Is any old person cereal just to bring you back to the golden age?
I often think about that because like you're growing up, your parents are eating that kind of cereal, and you think like, why doesn't it seem like it's gonna be good? Like, but then you have those child taste buds, and then you get older, like, oh my god, this stuff is gold. I love it, and you wonder, is this how my family felt when they had like?
I've become my father.
I've become. I like Raisin Bran Crunch.
There we go.
Weetabix. Okay.
Weetabix.
Yes.
But seriously, like that's me. I don't go for the old. I don't go for the fucking sugary cereals. I go for the old cereals. Give me the Raisin Bran Crunch. Give me the Honey Bunches of Oats.
What about? Oh gosh! And then they come out with new stuff all the time, and you if you don't go to the store very often, you look and you're confused. Why is there a Cinnamon Toast Crunch? Why is there icy branded Kellogg's cereal? I have no clue. I was gonna say,
would you like to tell the class what you tried yesterday?
Wendy's Frosty cereal, and it was interesting. Like, you don't know, like there's like s'mores cereal. There's the Oreo O's.
Oh, those are. I think they brought those back because they were around in the 90s or something like that.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they brought them back like 2011. I'd try those, and oh god. I think my go-to one is Golden Grams, 100%.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It's Golden the worst Grams. For you, but it's just like
it's so good.
Oh yeah.
And now they're making like there's what is it? Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebble Crunch, where they're no longer those tiny flakes, but they're just like they're basically larger cereal pieces that are more crunchy, and they're not too bad. Not gonna lie, I think I like them more than actually original Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles.
And then the one time they just fucked up and made it all fucking berries.
Wait, oops.
Some intern at the processing plant packed a whole box of berries, and then it went, oh shit, we can sell this.
Well, they make all these different, like the red, white, and blue, the seasonal flavors, like America. Christmas Crunch, America. Just a whole, like, there's peanut butter, and then there's the one that Tougie christened as the Boston Bruins, the OG Captain Crunch, that basically tears apart your roof of your mouth.
Oh yeah,
the pain. There's just so many, dude. And then there's the bagged cereals for the people who sometimes, I don't know, you get more bang for your buck.
For people who can't be bothered to fold a cardboard box to put it in the trash.
Yes.
Jeez. Well, we've heard about some of the best. Our next question from Cody: what's the worst cereal you've ever had?
Weetabix.
Yeah. Do you remember? You guys remember Kix?
Yes.
Oh,
Kix.
Fuck that.
Yeah, Kix. Oh. Those things are.
Yeah, that's Kix, really great.
I'm like, why? I think for a while it was. I didn't really like Pops that much, but I've kind of grown into liking them the older I got. But when I was a kid, I hated Pops with a passion. But right now, I still think of Kix, and I'm like, why are these still like alive?
Why are you born?
God, I don't want to go with it, but I feel like I have to. Like the freaking like Cocoa Pebbles, Fruity Pebbles, for the sole purpose of you have 10 seconds to eat it.
Oh yeah,
it basically just evaporates in the milk, and it's just mush by like
after those 15 seconds, minutes. It might as well be oatmeal.
Yep, I think that's why I like the Crunch a lot more, because you actually can savor the cereal for longer. But yes, you have that. You better start your stopwatch, because you have that much time to get it actually in your mouth.
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to think of other ones, but yeah, that was the. You know, I'm gonna put honeycombs out there as well. Not a big fan.
What do you feel about cereal adding marshmallows? Like Trix adding marshmallows, Fruity Pebbles adding marshmallows
as a gimmick to like fill in extra space. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I will say right
I wouldn't
now,
expect.
Yeah. I would say right now, I don't like marshmallows in my cereal. So you're counting out me. Lucky Charms, couldn't eat that.
That's a lot.
Count Chocula, couldn't eat that. Blueberry, couldn't eat that. Couldn't stand any of that. Also, there's a limited selection of cereals because, you know, in Canada, we actually care about your health. So, like, the entirety of, like, Post cereals aren't available. You have to go across the border. So, like, my cousin who's going to university in Ohio, of all places, God rest his soul, and he would he'd bring up all a bunch of cereal just because, and we had like one day where we just had little like basically like a wine testing of cereals, and I wanted to puke afterwards because it was just like pure sugar, GMOs right into my bloodstream, and I grew a mustache for like a good like week after that. And yeah, it was a time. So yeah, a lot of stuff you guys probably not have heard of, a lot of stuff I might not have heard of too. So yeah.
So I will say, first and foremost, Count Chocula is S tier, but I do agree about marshmallows. The mouthfeel for certain ones, like Lucky Charms, I can't do it. I can't do it. The mouthfeel is just off on those marshmallows. Secondly, to your point about going over the border, one of my favorite experiences from this last trip to Finland was going to their American section at the supermarket. And yes, the shit's expensive as hell because they're like, hey, man, if you're going to ruin your health, you're going to pay for it.
Yeah.
I'll have to take a picture again. I'll be in the same area right near that same store. But yeah, it's a real thing of like, hey, here's the American section. And practically has warning labels.
Oh my God.
Don't do it. So they're not wrong, though. They're not. All right, boys. Final cereal thoughts before we get into something serious.
So, do you guys remember any cereals you may have had growing up that got banned or discontinued?
Oh man,
no idea.
I have one that basically I'm glad it got discontinued and / banned because it was basically a sugar high, like a maximum sugar high every time. And
they
it was
put
like
ketamine in the burger, in
the
cereal.
It was like a cinnamon crunch from Kellogg's, and it had, I think,
was it the Cinnabon
French Toast Crunch?
No, it wasn't like French Toast Crunch. It was something like that, but it was just they amped it up to like 11, and every time I'd go to school, I'd be bouncing off the walls because I had that cereal so much. And I had to look it up. I had to actually physically look it up to actually remember like the pain and suffering from 20 years ago or so. Oh, I'll have to look it up and I'll probably show you guys later.
My answer is Reptar Crunch.
Wow.
The Rugrats cereal. I want it.
Did they bring that back? Did they bring it back recently or no? I thought I saw maybe Reptar Crunch, but maybe that was just my own imagination.
Maybe. Funny thing is, I don't even remember having it. I just remember that's always the one where it's like, oh, if they could bring back, let me have Reptar Crunch.
Let me turn my cereal milk green, please.
Freaking slime.
Freaking slime.
Oh, God. Yeah, there's probably too many to think of. And again, so many of those older cereals, it's just like, I couldn't do it anymore.
I got one more. Did anybody here ever, you're a cereal fan and you, as a kid, you remember getting the sweepstakes on the box and you try to enter the sweepstakes to
yes.
get the prize, or you get something in the box, like you get like a personal, like a spoon or something with like a character on it.
I remember General Mills products back in like the General Mills products back in the 2000s.
That should be your new tag.
Motherfucker! I just changed it back. God damn it! Have to wait another 72 days, like a Kardashian changes up her partner. Chris Humphries, where you at?
There we go.
I've been waiting for a platform to make that joke. Holy shit. So what was that on about? I completely forgot. Oh yeah, cereal's packed in with it. They used to give out copies of Roller Coaster Tycoon in like cereal. And then I also got the Lion King, Timon and Pumbaa like game show kind of equivalent of a game in there to put in my CD as well. Yeah. I can't remember what cereal it was. I think it was Fruit Loops. I just loved the fuck out of Fruit Loops as a kid. That was the go-to.
I still do. That holds up. It's a great cereal.
Oh, yeah.
Fruit Loops is good.
But yeah, I definitely remember getting the CD-ROMs in the cereal. I remember our school, like our elementary school would do like a box top drive
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, if you have cereal, hey, cut the box top off, bring it to school, and blah, 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 help us out type of thing. So, cereal memories for 15 minutes. We hope you enjoyed. We hope it lived up to the
Prepare for disappointment for the rest of the podcast.
As we take a hard right turn with Bouncy McBoink Boink. What's the most profound piece of advice you try to follow every day? Don't eat Captain Crunch. I have a quick answer for this too, because I mention it all the time on stream anyway. 5th grade, teacher in elementary school, general teacher. So it's like, hey, aside from gym, here's your teacher for everything. And it was always just trust your gut and go with your first answer, because it is less frustrating to be wrong than it is to be wrong because you changed your answer. So that is something where I'm always just like, all right, I'm going for it. And it works out well. I absolutely destroy the fiance when we watch Jeopardy every single time. So there you go.
Oh, man. I was watching, speaking of Jeopardy, I was watching Jeopardy, like clips of it yesterday. And it was the one where they had the All-Stars on there. Oh. It was like the one guy who replaced Trebek after he passed. Rest in peace. God bless your soul. Well, the other guy,
did he move to Ohio?
Yeah. Maybe. He moved in the Great Ohio in the sky.
No.
Columbus?
Probably. Nasher's house. It's okay. So they erased all the scores off the board, and the guy had 0. And one guy's like, "Hey, look, Brad's score's still on the board."
Oh no!
Oh man, that's my little quip. I don't know what a proper saying that I had raised going through. So Davos, if you have one, go ahead. I'll try to remember one if I can.
Well, honestly, in the place I work at, you just gotta be yourself, and you're dealing with patients. I work in a hospital as a patient transporter. Besides this, and you gotta just go in there, and when you're working, just make people feel better about themselves, because then they're in a different situation than you might think. And I just try to be as kind, as courteous as I can, and regardless if they're not being the same towards me, you just got to make sure that they're at least comfortable in a place they don't want to be. And I just try to be as courteous and kind every day as I can, depending on whether or not if the person is the same to me. So
I can imagine. Just fuck you. Dav's like, fuck you too. The most out of character thing.
Yes.
It's like the one thing that switches in his brain, just like for some reason I just stopped caring. I totally snapped.
Yeah. We have those days. So
yeah, I think I remember. There's 2. One is there's people who are I remember my mom told me there are people in your life who come in for a reason, or a season, or forever. You never know which of the 3 these people are, so cherish the moments of you have with them. Right. And another one is be a leader, not a follower. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of stuff I've lived off of for the past 25 years now, and I think I've done pretty well for myself. Maybe, I don't know, man. I'm trying. Go self-reflecting right into the podcast. I just go quiet, hands on my head, just like rethinking my whole life. If I didn't take that one turn on the one block when I was like 4 years old, if I didn't get hit by that car when I was 7, who would I be today? Who am I? 24601.
How did I end up on a podcast talking about cereal? Where did it all go wrong?
Oh man,
there was that one turn.
It was that one time I was 7 years old and I was on the swing and I had a hot dog and I fell off the swing and I got sand in my hot dog and I cried. Yeah,
I got sand in my buns.
Damn it. I got sand on my wieners. Forget the buns.
God, this is living up to the hype, boys. This is great.
Yes.
Next up, from RG Dust, favorite Ted Lasso character. Now, I will preface this by saying I have one episode to go, the season 3 finale. So we're gonna avoid any potential finality kind of talk here. Endo, have you watched Ted Lasso?
No.
Perfect. Davos, have you watched Ted Lasso?
No.
Perfect. You both should watch it. Roy Kent is the correct answer. From Young Burrito. I had a feeling you both hadn't watched it, which was great. If you had one, or if you had to be one TV show character from your childhood, who would it be? Fucking Big Bird, king of the streets.
Yeah, he doesn't have a job anymore. You hear that?
Does he not?
No, remember for a while, it's like back in like 2012, 2013, it was like Big Bird's out of a job or whatever the fuck it was, and collecting unemployment. It was this. Hold on, Big Bird.
Well, I mean, if you go on Know Your Meme, Big Bird jobless crashes on Oscar the Grouch's couch. Him next to Oscar with a bottle of Jack Daniels.
What?
Oh,
Wow.
it was because Mitt Romney was gonna cut PBS's funding back in 2012, and the whole joke was Big Bird was out of a job.
What? Yeah, that's right.
Oh man, that was funny. Oh yeah, and it was the letter of days U for unemployment.
Holy hell!
Oh my gosh.
Oh man!
If I had to be a character from a TV show growing up, I think it'd be Tito from Rocket Power.
I was just fucking thinking that. It's perfect for you too. It's perfect.
Gotcha. Yes, his sayings are so wise. You want to be, and he's so humble. You make him. You want to watch a marathon of all of his sayings. There's probably a YouTube video out there somewhere every time Tito
compilation.
A Tito compilation. But awesome character. Ooh, I wish we had there's other characters that are like him, but Tito, my number one right there.
I looked up Tito compilation. It's Tito Ortiz being a dumbass for 9 minutes straight. 2 exclamation points on the straight, by the way. And the thumbnail is him with his big head. It's this moron. Oh, it's great. I don't know. Someone's like, it'd be SpongeBob because it's just carefree. Yeah, I don't know.
It's tough.
I don't know. It's a tough question. What was my favorite show as a kid? That's even harder to pick because my mind's a blur. Too many bash wounds to the head through hockey, so I can't remember too much. But
no room for childhood TV shows. Only room for old cereals.
Only old cereal and just like
things have been scrambled around in there.
Yeah, static. It's just like staring. It's like, what is it? The lights are on, but nobody's home. Pretty much.
There you go.
As my camera is frozen. I don't know how long it's been frozen. So
no,
I don't either.
I think it just froze.
Oh boy. Fine. Just replace it with the one me giving the thumbs up, like halfway through.
It'll be fine. Or we can just leave it on that. That's a pretty good freeze frame. We'll move on. So, gentlemen, our final question comes from AJ. It's a long one, but damn it, why not? We'll go for it. He provides us the hockey fan checklist. How many of these can you tick off? Number 1. We've all attended an NHL game.
Yep.
Secondly, have you met a current or former NHL player in person? Davos, who was?
Actually, it was quite a few.
Fucking braggart.
When I could say, when I used to work at the Little Caesars pizza stands when the Joe Louis was still Joe Louis.
Hey.
And I got to meet like a bunch of the Red Wings and a bunch of the alumni as well. So that was really cool. And then a couple of years after that, I got to meet Darren McCarty and get his autograph on one of my jerseys.
Hey. Endo, what about you?
I've actually met and played with a bunch. I played with, I'm not looking back at it, I played with some alumni too. I've played with Eric Lindros. I've met him as well too, obviously, because I had to play with him to meet him. Who else? The coolest one I met was Joel Ward. He was he was the assistant coach, or basically coaching with the Ryerson Rams, the university team, which are now the what are they now? I can't remember.
The Toronto Metropolitan University, or
yeah,
whatever
TMU. TMU bold. Be bold. Terrible design for a name and terrible design for a jersey, because it's just, anyways, like bring back the emu, the mascot they had, team with the emu. Let me see. And who else did I meet? I think I've also played with like Matt Pellick, brother of Adam Pellick? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, wow, you can actually play. Did you play growing up? I'm like, no, I played like house league and shit. It's like, why not? Poor. Okay, fair enough. And yeah, typical answer. And yeah, that's pretty much some of the people that I met. There's a long list. I think 3 more was Doug Gilmore, Mark Messier, and Guy Carbonneau.
Oh yeah, we'll top this PJ Stock. I was 9 years old, and he randomly had an autograph signing in my small ass town that I grew up in. Gigantic Bruins fans in terms of the household had no fucking idea. That's how like little publicity this had. And then out of nowhere, my older sister shows up and she's like, "Hey, did you go down?" And we're like, "What the hell are you talking about?" It's like, "Oh yeah, PJ Stock is down at the." We fucking sprinted to the car. Last one's in line.
Nice.
Still got a picture, an autograph, signed autograph photo, that type of thing. So
yeah,
he was the first. So.
Yeah, I met those 3 because I was doing a promotion for Pepsi. It was they had the contest was bring home a Stanley Cup champion, and if you were a certain region of Canada,
how'd that work out?
Let me see. I got paid in like Gatorade, bunch of free merch and everything like that. I had Mark Messier sign a hockey sock that I had, that I then ended up using 3 days later because they didn't have any other pair of socks to wear when I was playing out. So that's always fun. It's smart.
Bag fumbler. Mills. Number 3, actually. For the checklist, have both the current home and away jersey for your favorite team. I can tick that off the list and then some. Davos, do you have a Red Wings home and away jersey?
Is it current as in Adidas current?
He didn't clarify. So
okay.
I'd allow Reebok.
I can say no. Well, I don't know. I have a bunch of I do have their whites, but I don't have the actual red, but I have a couple of their like Stadium Series jersey and or Centennial Classic jersey.
I would count it personally.
I have like honestly, I'm missing like I need an actual like the red jersey. I have like all 3 of my like Yzerman, Fedorov are all whites, and I'm like I need a red in here somewhere because it's just it's just too much. But
fair enough. Endo, for you.
I own a Leafs home jersey from the Reebok era before they switched over to the new design. And I own a Chinese-made version of the Centennial jersey. I believe this was like a short selling on NHL.com or something like that for a while. It's like all gray. I can bring it out right now and show you guys. Hold on, I'll actually do that right now. Because it's really interesting. It's a nice jersey, but it's just fake.
I can show my fake too.
Am I the only one that doesn't have a fake jersey? Am I the only one that's a big enough snob to be like, I will not have a fake jersey, thank you? Frickin' apparently. Jesus, now I'm just left here all alone. Davos with this fake Marc-Andre Fleury Reebok era Penguins jersey.
Yep.
And Endo with the... Why does that look more like a Lightning jersey than a Leafs jersey?
I don't know what it is, but the one thing I like about it though is the numbers. Like, is it not this? Obviously,
it looks like the I don't know the.
So it's San Jose All-Star?
No, it looks to me like the World Cup of Hockey 2016.
Yeah, that's what I think it might be. It might get like a hybrid of that with the Leaf jersey on it, with the Leaf logo on it. It's I just yeeted across the room. This office space is a mess with just a bunch of clothes we have to go through before we move. And it's honestly a nice jersey, except that it's fake, and you can really tell from the stitching in the back with the numbers. But aside from that, it's really nice.
I think we already answered 4. Have an autographed item of from a current player of your favorite team. I don't think so.
Nope.
No.
I think the answer is no.
Did I tell you guys about my baseball glove that was autographed by Jose Bautista the year before he got big?
Yes.
Ooh.
I've heard that story before.
It was like right along the glove of a Nike baseball glove. And then the year before he got big, he was like, he just got traded over, and he was just like, okay, cool, we have this guy. He's pretty good at hitting the ball. And then next year he sets like the club record for home runs in a season. Like, all right, cool.
Here's an autograph I do have, but not by a current player. Paul Coffey.
Ooh.
Paul Coffey Whalers jersey.
Yes.
I do love that Whalers jersey. I don't have one. I need to change that at some points. Question 5: Have you attended an NHL game?
Does Howler count?
No, because I have that too, and it's not our favorite team.
God damn it!
But good try. Have you attended an NHL game either as a neutral or a road fan? I know the answer is yes for Davos.
Yep.
Endo, NHL game as a neutral or a road fan?
Because I hate the Leafs. Technically speaking, yes. No, but I haven't. I've only watched Leaf games in Toronto. I'd love to catch a Leaf game in an opposing arena. It'd be chaotic, and I'd probably want to have a hitman with me just in case. But yeah.
Question number 6: Do you own goalie equipment? That's a yes for Endo, obviously. I feel like he added that just in there. I'm going to say yes. I have a Jocelyn Thibault branded goalie stick from the 2000s.
Wow.
Which is awesome. I found it at a Goodwill.
Nice.
It was a good find.
Wow. I don't know why I put no on this, but I do.
Yeah.
I have a whole bag of goalie equipment off to my left here.
Well, there you go.
Picture.
Perfect.
Nice.
Have you appeared on TV or in media for your favorite team? I don't think they'll come anywhere near me. Not brand friendly enough, in fairness. I can probably acknowledge that. I mean, Davos, obviously you've appeared in Shark stuff and Blue Jacket stuff, but Red Wing stuff? Was there something?
Nope.
No. Okay. Well, see, my team isn't the only team to fuck up.
There was one, I believe there was one, I don't know if it was something Hut related where they actually
Red
went
Wings
down
had an event.
They did have an event,
yeah.
But not with me.
Idiots. Endo?
Not really too sure. I can't remember top of my head, so I'm gonna say no. But I have done media stuff for teams. I did stuff for the Raptors for a bit as well. Like, this is all when I was a kid, so
yeah. Have you had an NHL player mention or reply to you on Twitter?
No.
I don't know. I don't remember, at least. I don't remember.
What about AJ? Greer?
Well, that's my answer for 10. If you look ahead. We will go to question 9 then. Have you attended a hockey game outside of North America? This was my gimme, because the answer is yes. As February in Helsinki, it was phenomenal. Davos, Endo, either of you?
Nope.
No.
And then, are you followed on Twitter by an NHL player? In which case, the answer is yes.
Does Zach Boychuk count?
Zach Boychuk count? Yes.
Oh my god.
In which case, everybody on Twitter is followed by a former NHL player.
Oh yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah. I don't think so. At least if they do, then fucking run, buddy. Run.
Oh, God. So, AJ, I hope it lived up to the hype for you. Thank you, everybody, for sending in your questions. Gentlemen, let's talk a little bit of hockey before we wind things down. God forbid. First and foremost, it's got to take center stage. Stanley Cup Final. Game number 3 is tonight. Vegas is up 2-0 after winning game 2, 7-2, with all of the penalties. Literally all of them by the end of it. Jonathan Marchessault had a 3-point night, which led the Vegas Golden Knights... the Vegas Golden Knights Twitter account to be like, and from the Florida Panthers, we select Jonathan Marchessault in the expansion draft, which, yeah, again, they, if I'm not mistaken, they traded Riley Smith to Vegas to ensure that Vegas would take Jonathan Marchessault.
Yeah.
One of the biggest hindsight oofs of all time. It was a pretty big oof at the time. But Aiden Hill stopped 29-31. Bobrovsky was pulled after 27 minutes, allowing 4 goals on 13 shots, with the Golden Knights having scored more goals on Bobrovsky than the Carolina Hurricanes did in the entirety of the Eastern Conference Final. You had the controversial moment, I would say, of Barbashev's reverse hit on Radko Gudas. There's no suspension. Gudas will be ready for game 3, so... You know, you live by the, oh, we're walking the line kind of hit, and I guess you die by it if you're Radko Gudas. He's just lucky no one yelled in his face. That would have hurt the most.
That was a like, that whole sequence. Like, there were just hits being just piled on everybody. It was, like, I wasn't expecting that to start the game.
And then you had the Matthew Tkachuk hit on Jack Eichel, where Eichel toe picks, and people are like, okay, he's dead. We won't see him. And then he's back for the third period because he's Jack Eichel. It's ridiculous. And, yeah, at the end of this, Matthew Tkachuk lifetime is now 0 for 10 on the road in Vegas. He's never won a game at T-Mobile Arena. And in this series, Marchessault and Eichel each have 4 points in 2 games. And there are only 3 Golden Knights who have yet to register a point: Keegan Colasar, Alex Pietrangelo, and Nick Hague. Aiden Hill in the series has stopped 62 of 66 with a .939 save percentage. And if you're looking at a Conn Smythe winner, if the Knights were to win the Cup, it's either Jack Eichel, who has 22 points so far, Marchessault has 21, or it's Aiden Hill, who has a .937 save percentage in the playoffs so far. I would give it to Aiden Hill. Like, if this continues, right, and by the time I'm back, the Stanley Cup Final will be over. By the time the show returns, it'll be done. We'll already know. But if I had to guess right now, Aiden Hill is going to win the Conn Smythe, because I do feel like Vegas is going to end this series, and I feel like you have to give it to him. I mean, a .937 in his playoff appearances so far are insane. Panthers in the series, by the way, Lundell and Duclair each have 2 points. Only 6 Panthers have registered a point in the series. And Sergei Bobrovsky, has he turned back into a pumpkin, gentlemen, in this series? An .826 save percentage, stopping just 38 of 46. Game 3 is tonight. If the Panthers lose, this series is over. Davos, how do you feel like the series is going to go from here? Do we see 5 games? Do we see 6? Is this over incredibly fast? How are you feeling?
Like, I had a kind of a high hope heading into this series, but after the first 2 games, it's like the Panthers would have a jump to start the game. They'd get physical, but they just couldn't get that break to get past the Vegas defense and get more scoring opportunities. And when they did, Aiden Hill was right there making some, like, as we saw, the save in game 1. And it was just incredible. But again, they aren't as consistent in the last 2 periods. And by the time third period rolls around, they're just, I don't know, they just are out of gas and very frustrated. As we saw, like, game 1, game 2 were very close up until the ending of the third period, where penalties would start to accumulate and Vegas would score power play goals to get those 4-2, 7-2 games. And again, Aiden Hill was in San Jose when I was in San Jose, we got to meet him last year. So, I mean, maybe he's that picture of mine might have been able to give him confidence and then get traded to Vegas. And now he's in the finals. So maybe that's the reason why I don't know. I'm just tossing stuff up there, but no, good for him. He's been tested, and he's making the most of a great opportunity for him in the Stanley Cup final. He has been the goalie of the series for Vegas after a start of the playoffs where they didn't really have much to go for in goalie depth. They had Francois playing in there. They didn't have Ferguson and or Thompson, and they're just, I don't know. It was a little bit shaky, but he's been their guy to get them there. And I do believe that it could be a 4-game sweep here too. That's for sure.
I will say one thing about Adin Hill is I saw the dumbest tweet get traction today of years ago, the Sharks traded Kiprusoff.
Oh,
and then Calgary went to the Cup final, and he almost won the Conn Smythe. And now 20 years later, like it's the dumbest. Like, first and foremost, they traded Mika Kiprusoff because they had Evgeny Nabokov. Yep. They also, with the pick in the deal, if I'm not mistaken, got Mark-Edouard Vlasic. Secondly, Calgary didn't win. Like, that's the end of it. Like, in 2013, the Boston Bruins almost won. Who the fuck cares? They didn't.
That's why I hate revisionist history entirely. Just thinking back, this thing happened. It was an entirely different scenario.
Yeah,
like Vegas just needed a goalie, and then they got Adin Hill, who's played out of his mind. Like even so far this season, he played 27 games. He was 16-7-1, so he was already pretty good with like a .915 save percentage. So it's not like he literally came out of nowhere. Granted, it seems that like if you play well in fucking Arizona, you can play well literally anywhere, because all throughout his NHL career, he seemed to have like decent numbers in the 9-14-15 range. Like, the only time he dipped on there was when his first season in Arizona, when he had like an 891 save percentage, and after that, it's been all above 900. So he's not like he's a bad goalie. He's just been on bad teams. Like,
I mean, and there was a reason though as to why no one was freaking out when he was traded for so little to go to Vegas. It's because he had a 906 on the Sharks with a goal saved above expected of a -0.7. Like, it's like, okay, you're an average NHL goaltender who happened to get really, really hot in the playoffs. Nobody had on their bingo card Adin Hill puts up Conn Smythe level performance, especially he wasn't even the starter in playoffs. So yeah, tweets like that are annoying, but they get interaction clearly. So congratulations. Endo, any thoughts on the Cup final, given that it'll be over the next time we talk about it on the show?
Yeah, even if this goes 7, like, it's going to be over. It's going to be done with by the time you get back from Helsinki and Finland and all that fun stuff. I think maybe you and Sin should just record like if you guys can get access to the Sports Gamer headquarters and just do a quick little like shoot the shit and just record it and then put it up there. I'm pretty sure Keenan wouldn't mind.
We probably could, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like I should just do it just to throw everyone for a loop. Like, upload it on like Wednesday, and everyone's like, "What the what the hell?" But I don't know. Like, again, this is make or break. I mean, we've seen teams come back down 3-0 to win series, but it's super rare. It's super unlikely, especially in Stanley Cup finals of all places, to see a reverse sweep. Even a sweep entirely too. But I don't know if there's much that Florida can do. They've been trying to force Vegas to make those plays, take those penalties, play their style of hockey, and Vegas is not really letting it happen. Like, we've seen, what was it? Who was the defenseman? Who was just like, he was getting ragdolled by Kachuk, and he just kind of like standing there, just laughing it off.
It was Haig.
Yeah, Haig. Yeah. Haig's just standing there, just like, all right, cool. Like, go take your penalty. I'll be fine with it whatsoever. It's pretty much just how it's gonna go, and I want them to go past 4 games. I want to see a good 5-6 game series out of this, but I don't know if they don't win this game, I don't see it going past 5. That's, I'll say flat out.
I think that's fair. So Florida, hey, we're rooting for it to be a good series, but right now it's not looking too good. We'll see what happens game 3. Endo, a quick note about your Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yay!
The big news of the day, Shane Doan is a Leaf.
Oh, man. I was... a few weeks ago when this was reported. It was a few weeks ago. I think it was the other day when this was reported that it could have been a possible thing to happen. Let me see what day it was. It was on the 4th. So it has been 4 days. So on Sunday, there was a thing that came out that said, update by Nick Kiprio saying there have been rumblings about Shane Doan potentially joining the Maple Leafs front office. And I joked that it's basically them being like, hey, Austin, we got your favorite player in the whole world here in management. Please don't leave us. We need you. You understand. You don't understand. We need you here, okay? Like, you need you to be with us in this organization, because without you, we are basically starting from square one. And yeah, they brought him in. And now it's gonna be fun, you know. I mean, Brad Treliving brings in the guy who was a part of the organization while he was the AGM. It's interesting, and let's see if they can actually do something, because I know Treliving said the main thing he wants to get out of the way is the Matthews deal. I wouldn't be surprised if they have a deal already in place verbally, and then June 1st or July 1st, when it's allowed to go through, like, just announce right then and there. I feel like it's going to be, I don't know. I think it's either going to be like a big payment. It's either going to be a long-term contract, or it's going to be a really front-heavy bridge deal. Just to be like, hey, listen, like, you know, see how it is over the next 3 years. Like, I know you probably want to go back to Scottsdale or wherever the fuck the Coyotes are going to be playing next year. So, you know, stay here a little bit. Stay here until the arena is finally built. Once that's built, then you can go fuck off to Arizona.
Don't go to Arizona. We'll bring Arizona to you.
Pretty much.
Oh, God. All right. Well, had to get that note in there for the Leafs' purpose. There was the big trade that really kind of had the headlines with the extra day in between Stanley Cup games that we have to mention between Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and Columbus. Philadelphia picks up goaltender Cal Peterson's boat anchor of a contract. Defenseman Sean Walker, a Swedish prospect named Helge Grans, a 2024 second from Los Angeles, a 2023 first rounder, 22nd overall from Los Angeles, and they will also receive either a 2024 or 2025 second round pick from the Blue Jackets. We'll talk about Philly in a second. Los Angeles picks up defenseman Kevin Connaughton, forward Hayden Hodgson, and they retain 30% of Ivan Provorov's contract at $2.025 million. And they use the cap space, by the way, to talk about Los Angeles really quickly. They do use that cap space freed up to help sign and keep defenseman Vladislav Gavrikov, who gets a 2-year deal worth $5.875 million with the full no movement clause. I think it's a little bit steep. Like, I get he was a deadline pickup for them, and I don't know, man. I don't know if that's the type of defenseman. Like, almost $6 million for Gavrikov. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just because he's not a massive point producer, but he is a very strong two-way defenseman in a sense. We'll see. I mean, my initial reaction to that is it's a little bit much, but that is what it is. And then Columbus picks up Ivan Provorov from Philadelphia. So, as far as what this means for the Flyers, you take on Cal Peterson, you take on Sean Walker. Maybe they turn it around, maybe they don't. It's a lot of cap space. You can afford to take the hit. It's fine. You pick up Grans as a defenseman. Who knows still? He's a prospect. A first and 2 seconds. Danny Briere. Danny Briere, ladies and gentlemen. That is a phenomenal first trade for them. Absolutely fantastic. For Los Angeles, I mean, you free up Peterson and Walker, who you might not necessarily want to move. You keep Gavrikov, but have to retain on Provorov. And if I'm not mistaken, Provorov's deal isn't exactly up soon. He's got this year and next. So it's not up for another, the next 2 seasons. I don't know. Bold strategy for Los Angeles, and then even bolder strategy for Columbus picking up Provorov, where, I mean, look, maybe it does work out better for him instead of having to be the guy in Philadelphia. He's behind Zach Werenski and sheltered a little bit, but that seems like a lot to give up for Provorov, especially now. The number was 22% of their cap is locked up between Werenski, Provorov, and Eric Goodbranson. I said it when the word was, oh, hey, they're probably bringing in Mike Babcock. I don't know how Jarmo Kekalainen still has a job after 10 years. And at this point, I'm fully expecting them to be like, well, we brought in Babcock, we brought in Provorov. Let's bring in Tony DeAngelo at this point because no one else will want him. We can get him for cheap. I don't know. Davos, I don't know if you have any thoughts on this particular one, aside from, I know you were kind of agreeing, like, shit, Philadelphia did very well.
No, they got, I mean, when Briere was talking about, like, nobody is safe on Philadelphia. They're looking to get some picks, get prospects, maybe just toss some bait in the water, and they got LA to bite, and Columbus as well. They got rid of a player they've had for years, and they want some new faces on the team, and they need another workaround here. Like they're talking about, we're going to probably talk about Carter Hart potentially. I don't know if he's going to stay, if he's going to get a new contract. We're going to find out. But Briere definitely wants to make some changes on this team, and they've gone through some crazy years where you have Chuck Fletcher and all those guys, and you had everything just go the wrong way, and now Briere is coming in. We definitely need to make some changes, and it's going to be a work in progress for I think for Columbus. They are getting a coach that is scorned upon by a lot of players and a lot of people and fans and everybody in the league. And while he may have tenure being a coach, being a good coach, but getting teams Stanley Cups, but I don't know. It's gonna be a toss up for me at this point. I think it's gonna be maybe a different year in Columbus, but they kind of fell off after getting Johnny Gaudreau and didn't have the season they were wanting last year. So again, time will tell for Columbus.
Chicago continues to screw things up for everybody. They gave Andreas Athanasiou a 2-year deal worth $4.25 million per, because I guess you need somebody fast to play with Connor Bedard. Nick Kypreos mentioned this. I mean, what are the like? He's fine, but $4 million per. I don't know. That's a cap oil contract to me. They just can't give him $16 million.
Yep. Actually, physically watching Athanasiou on Detroit, he has sparks, but I honestly seeing him get 20 goals and 40 points this last season was kind of surprising. But you get that one season where they get good point totals and then they get a contract and they get that money. But can they be consistent with the point scoring and goal scoring that they had? It's going to be a trifling situation when they realize that he can't do it. So it's kind of like Toronto throwing money at David Clarkson after having a 30-goal season with New Jersey and then coming to Toronto. So I'm not saying it's the same thing, but it's kind of in the minor shade of that. So hopefully Athanasiou can get them more point production for the value they just got him in the contract.
Just don't touch his fucking water bottle and everything will be fine. Nick Kypreos had a follow-up quote. Some NHL teams tell me that free agent forward Michael Bunting could get between 4.5 and 5 million a season on a long-term deal based on the 2-year $4.25 million cap hit of Andreas Athanasiou. Leafs might be priced out. And that's kind of my thought. Like, if Athanasiou's getting 4.25, Michael Bunting should probably get at least 5. I mean, like it's
That's
just
fair.
There's going to be some teams, some fan bases of teams that look at what their club paid for a UFA this year, and they're just like, oh my God, we couldn't have got him for cheaper. And it's because Chicago pulled this crap. It's going to take some player signing for a little bit less to kind of reset the market a little bit.
Yep.
I don't know if that's going to happen, though. So shout out to Chicago. You continue to ruin everything.
Yeah, I don't see Bunting taking a hometown. I don't know. I mean, I think he likes the whole thing. He's like just a kid from Scarborough, making it through into the NHL after basically bouncing around the farm system with Arizona for a while, and getting his chance with the Leafs and with the hometown team, his favorite team growing up, kind of thing. I don't know if it take a hometown discount though. He did have like 49 points compared to last season with 63. And Jesus Christ, 103 penalty minutes. Christ. I think the Leafs definitely might want to try and re-sign him and ask for a hometown discount, or maybe take a bridge deal so that way he can make more money in the future. Because right now, yeah. It's either he really takes the bridge and stays here, or he goes all out for the money and goes somewhere else, makes a fuck ton of money. And yeah, that's just the situation the Leafs are in entirely, because you have $22 million in cap space, and Ryan O'Reilly does want to. He has looked at the possibility of staying with Toronto, but he's not going to be cheap, and you have to sign a bunch of other people. Maybe you might grab some people from free agency. It's going to be a weird offseason for the Leafs entirely.
And from there, just a bunch of different rumors that are out and about right now that we'll have some clarity to when we return later on this month. The Jets, according to TSN, looking to trade Pierre-Luc Dubois, which, LOL, he's going to be a Hab. Everybody fucking knows this. It's been rumored for 3 years now.
Oh, my God.
But Mark Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck's names are also still out there. Of course, Hellebuck's name has been out there ever since the season ended. So no real surprise. We'll see what happens. Ottawa, potentially looking at moving on from Alex DeBrincat, with the two a little bit apart and questions about the future, which is understandable given that Ottawa's sale still hasn't gone through. So he could very much be on the move as an RFA, and I think most teams will very much be in the conversation for him because they should be. He is phenomenal. We mentioned Philly. Carter Hart's name out there as something that they're working on. Edmonton is rumored, which, the obvious thought there is, well, you just picked up a goalie in Cal Peterson who's making a lot. Being the ones to take Jack Campbell away from Edmonton in exchange for Carter Hart frees up some cap space for the Oilers. Seems to make them, a good amount of sense, but we don't have clarity there yet. The Nashville Predators are, quote, not actively shopping UC Saros, but are willing to listen to offers. Michael Gallagher stating, after speaking with a couple of different sources, it's believed it'll take a package of at least 2 first-round picks plus 2 to 3 blue-chip prospects to get the conversation started. So we're willing to listen, but here's our super high price. Who the hell is going to pay that for a goalie, even if it is UC Saros? That's
like saying I have high standards, and then saying the standards are even higher than what you say high standards are. Like those are the highest requests for. Saros is a good goalie, snubbed Vezina candidate, whatever you want to call him. He's a good player, and I guess the Preds are really looking to retool. I don't know, whatever, because that's just the way it works in the NHL. Is make it too far. You're like, okay, who can we possibly get rid of, but not actually get rid of? It's like, we'll get rid of them, but like, we're gonna need like the deed to your house. Kind of thing.
You mentioned it's like having high standards. Oh, I have high standards, and then you find out like, oh no, you have unreasonable standards.
Oh,
there's a big difference. That's really what this comes off as. And then the final point, and if you guys have any thoughts about any of these, hey, feel free to jump in. But the final point was, it's being rumored essentially that Rasmus Dahlin all but has an extension set in place with the Sabres, 8 years, about $10 million per. That likely won't be able to be made official until July 1st when, free agency kicks off. But No surprise there, and probably worth every penny there for the Sabres, because Jesus Christ, is he as good as advertised for a former first overall pick?
Fun fact, when my buddy Grizz went to Sweden, who did he find in a random Sweden bar? Dahlin. And just crazy. And again, as a partial Sabres fan, they need Dahlin. He is one of the more offensive, capable defensemen on their blue line. He makes everybody on that team better. And to have a guy like that in the locker room is definitely a positive for the Sabres when they want to start winning as soon as possible. And I think that getting him a new deal is definitely in a positive direction for them.
Gentlemen, with that, we will wind things down. Davos, thank you for being on the show again on such short notice. We appreciate you. We really didn't have that plan at all. And then last night on stream, I'm just like, oh, yeah, I don't know who we're going to have on the podcast. And it just kind of happened that, hey, here you go. And no, it was good. It was good having you on to talk about cereal for half an hour.
I am absolutely always available to talk about cereal and hockey in the same sentence. And maybe if we have to do a more similarities between the cereal and hockey teams, we can do that too. But thank you guys so much for having me aboard. It's been a while, but I was like, I got nothing going on today. Let's get the band back together and let's talk some stuff.
Do you have anything to promote on the way out? Where can people find you? The whole 9 yards, you know?
Well, you guys can find me on Twitter and Twitch at DavosCast, DavosCast. We have currently going on the CBJ Gaming 6v6 NHL 23 finale, sponsored by Kroger, powered by Lee Gaming. We have that going on. This is the last week of the regular season. Tonight is the last night of the regular season, and we have playoffs coming up. So whenever this is going to be broadcasted, we might be in playoffs at the time, but you guys can go over to NHL Blue Jackets on Twitch to watch us every Wednesday and Thursday night. And up until then, we don't have anything else going on in the terms of commentary. The season is winding down, and NHL 24 will be upon us in a little bit. But thank you guys for having me on board. I am always grateful, always excited to be on the podcast with Tougie and Endo.
Of course, make sure to check out the Twitter for all of his Final Fantasy fanaticisms.
Come on, guys, this is going to happen. They're going to do this and that, and it's going to be a giant explosion of things. Absolutely. You can never get away from my Final Fantasy rants.
Nor would we want to.
Exactly.
What do you got going on, buddy?
Well, I got to run and go play a hockey game actually in about like 15 minutes. So that's one thing I'm doing. So no streams all week. I just haven't been in the mood. Polina's on vacation. So been spending a lot of quality time with her, and she doesn't hate my guts yet. So that's a positive. But you can find me Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, anywhere else at It's Just Endo. It's Endo. It's only just Endo now. So yeah, that's what I've got going on. Hopefully next week there should be some streams going up on the channel. Hopefully I should be able to record with my, where the frick did I put it? My GoPro. This isn't the GoPro, but imagine this is the GoPro because I don't know where I put it. But yeah, I got GoPro. Gonna get a mic set up for it and record some GoPro hockey videos while I'm in net. It's weird because I don't talk a lot. I don't talk a lot in net, so like it's gonna be really, really weird for me to actually talk.
Only we'll hear him when he lets it go in. Ah, damn it!
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah,
but
just going through.
Are they gonna allow that in your at the rank you play at?
So they do. Okay. I've had it up before. They don't really mind. Don't really care. I just had to make sure I have a strong enough mount that when I put it up there, like a suction cup, where it just kind of stays up there. Because the ones that the one that I had before was like one of those flimsy like $15, $20 Amazon ones.
Yes.
And this one's like a full on like pop it on there and twist it, and it just locked in. Because there's that one I put on top of the glass, or there's one that I found a way you could do is you flip it upside down, you point it kind of downwards so that you can kind of see the whole scope of the ice, and then you zip tie it not zip tie, but you Velcro it in the back on top of the post if you have it, and then you're good.
It was a sound that nobody ever needed to hear, nor do they ever need to hear again.
Tentacle acres.
It is.
Whereas happiness is only a suction cup away.
Oh, Lordy.
We'll see you all in a few weeks. Thank you for listening and supporting the show. We clearly need the break.